But this one thing that's going on with Jackson State. I mean, look, they're on a high, right? Bringing in all these blue chippers. They have the 60th, I think, lower than that. I think they're above the 60th now. I think they're like 50 some odd highest recruiting class in the nation.
In the nation again. They're doing it again. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and ESPN, they were ESPN's top 100 in terms of like recruiting. So, and then again, the FCS program, let alone HBCU program, in the top 60 in recruiting, national recruiting amongst the blue bloods of college football, rather, which is out recruiting the group of five, most of the group of five, except for Cincinnati and Houston, and I think BYU as well. And well, BYU is not really a group of five anymore; they're an independent. But anyway,
yeah.
But actually, Houston, UCF, Central Florida, and Cincinnati are the only three group of five squads in the top 60. And again, Jackson State's among that top 60 in terms of recruiting class ratings. So they're on this high, right? But what they've been doing lately to celebrate that high recruiting, they put their schedule out, right? And they apparently they backed out of a classic against Tennessee State, which the people at Tennessee State are still pissed off about, and rightfully so.
Yes, the Southern Heritage Classic. Yes, Heritage in Nashville.
Yeah, they're still pissed that they backed out of that, they being Jackson State. And they replaced them apparently with Lane College. Not to make fun of Lane College, but they're SIAC school, but they're Division II. So you trade out a Division I FCS, which would have been big time on the schedule, to that. And apparently they're making another move to downgrade the schedule to the Allen Conference schedule is ass.
It is, right?
Yeah.
But to come to their defense, right?
Okay.
Here I come, Jackson State, to defend you for once. As you can see, I got my head in my hand while I'm doing so.
Right. The best you can, brother.
So they're not necessarily, it's not an even swap where they're playing Lane the same day that they were supposed to have played against Tennessee State.
Okay.
The game that takes its spot is a new SWAC challenge that they currently have within the conference, where they'll be facing Alabama A&M that weekend, I think it is.
Okay.
On the weekend of the 10th of September. So, and it's going to be a game that they currently are going to have in Birmingham, Alabama. So that's why I'm like, okay, this is the game that they were actually replacing with the Southern Heritage Classic. So to their defense, I'm sorry, it's UAPB, it's Arkansas Pine Bluff, is who they have on the 10th. And they actually played Lane for homecoming, my God, which should be a beatdown on December 10th. I'm sorry, not December 10th, on December 1st.
Okay.
So yeah, they should beat the brakes off of Lane on the 1st. But yeah, that game legit takes the place, well, that game against Arkansas Pine Bluff, which is being called, let me make sure I get this name correct again. If we can get this website to hurry up, please, with the loading. That's not what we're going to do. We're not going to do that right now. Okay,
yeah, probably because you got something to do. When you got things to do,
I know when you got things to do, you know, exactly, right? So yeah, whatever that sweat challenge is called, it's like a 3-year deal that they currently have, where they play UAPB twice, and I think Southern once. Now, so like I said, to correct you, it's not an even swap, you know, team for team, day for day. It's just out of conference team and out of conference team, and that date is for them against Lane will be held on their homecoming.
Got it.
And according to at first, you know, of course, Dion came out, or Coach Sanders came out and said that, you know, I don't have the power to make this decision. You got to talk to our athletics director, and you got to talk to the commissioner of the conference, because of course this series that they got going on in Birmingham is one within the conference, even though Jackson State is the primary team in that classic. Now, it also came out that this was all done because of money.
Yeah.
And I forget what this actually this comes from the Undefeated.
Okay.
It says a source
Shout out to
told
the
them.
Undefeated.
Yeah, shout out to the Undefeated. Sometimes they get it right. Sometimes I question, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
At least they out here covering the culture, and I applaud them for that.
Right.
A source said Jackson State has made about $6.3 million from the Southern Heritage Classic in the 28 years. In the 28 years of participating in the game. So that's $6.3 million in 28 years. It is expected to earn about $3 million for the first 2 games in Birmingham.
Wow.
So it all comes down to the money. It says it's a game we're playing in Alabama. Everything is paid, says Sanders. And the check is cut before we even get there. Instead of just playing games, we're doing business now. End quote from Coach Sanders.
There you go.
So yes, this is a move made out of business sense, and I get it. Do I like the way in which it was handled? No, because it was done from out of nowhere and almost last minute, because of course at this point in time teams are scheduling their opponents.
Correct.
And schedules are starting to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a last minute decision. The SWAC actually made that decision a few weeks ago that they were going to have this classic, and my guess is that they've gone on to decide to have it during that week that they would traditionally have the Southern Heritage Classic, thus knocking them out of that game. Disappointing for the fans that normally would go, because they would average about slightly under 50,000 per game throughout the history of that game.
Right.
And there has been some negative rumblings from the signing of this deal with this new game that they got currently going on within the SWAC fan base. But as they should, the Jackson State alums and their fan base is defending this move, and I'm defending it to a point. I just don't like the timing of it, and the fact that Tennessee State had to deal with it the way that they had to deal with it in that short amount of time as they dealt with it without any full, real answers until now. But you brought up the point of the out-of-conference schedule. We kind of touched on this a few weeks ago about how badly the SWAC has competed against FBS opponents. Make sure I said it right that time, right?
There you go.
But at the same time, and I'm not doing this on purpose. It just happens to be part of the conversation. This is very organic. It was very ironic that gentleman, and I hate to have to bring him up again, when he pointed out the fact that Northwestern State was a team, it was an FCS opponent that Grambling beat, out of conference FCS opponent that Grambling beat a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They should have beaten them, because around the time in which they defeated them, Northwestern State was barely winning games. The most that they had ever won, like during that time frame, was about 4 wins. And matter of fact, the year that they beat them, Grambling lost to Northwestern State the following season. Yes, matter of fact, the year that Grambling beat them, they won 1 game. So yes, Grambling was supposed to be a 1-win FCS opponent, as I would hope every HBCU would do that. I understand it doesn't happen often, but what I'm gonna need you not to do, especially in a season which, if it was the 2016 season that they won that game, the year in which they went to the Celebration Bowl, I'm gonna need you not to beat your chest for beating a team that bad. And yes, SWAC teams in order. And I shout out to Stephen Gaither. He pointed this out recently, and I know my homies that I chat with in my Facebook group said it as well. If our HBCU football programs want to be taken seriously, they're going to have to schedule, and not just taken seriously by HBCU fans, but taken seriously by other college football fans and other college football reporters that cover the sport.
Right.
If they want to be taken seriously, not only will they have to schedule tougher OOC opponents, they're going to have to beat them too.
Right.
Until you do that, you're looked at as currently what you're looked at, but at the same time, I don't blame you because you're not necessarily fighting for a playoff spot. You're fighting to compete in the Celebration Bowl
right.
and win your SWAC championship
That's an
if they
end
do
game.
that dough.
Yeah.
Yes, right. That's your end game. So if you're chasing your end game, chase your end game. I'm not mad at you for that.
Right.
But what you can't do is come out and say that you're one of the best teams in FCS when you're not proving it on the field. I don't care what your record is.
Correct.
I don't.
You gotta play up to your weight, schedule up to your weight class.
Exactly.
A little bit above,
yeah. So, this move for them to not play in the Southern Heritage Classic, oddly enough, and this is something you don't necessarily see other HBCUs often because a lot of times their fan base criticizes them for this, is that they decided to get rid of culture for the sake of the business of collegiate athletics.
Right.
And I applaud them for that. But, I just wish they would have done it